Winning the Big Ten championship would be awesome. I mean, it would be the culmination of a career's worth of work.
It would mean everything to our fan base. It would mean everything to the state of Michigan. But most importantly, it would mean everything to every man and woman that walks through this building every day.
It's mean a lot to the players, the coaches, the state of Iowa.
This is why you come to Michigan, to play in the big games.
All the work that you've put in with each other, I think it's going to feel awesome.
It'd be great for Michigan to win this game and go to the playoffs.
Coming into a program like this, that's what to do. You come in, you want to win championships.
The amount of effort and pride that this team takes in the little things like that and taking care of one another, Big Ten championship would be a great representation for that.
It's all in front of us to be able to put this team down in the history books in this program. And that's just something that I feel like we all are ready for.
It's something we've all dreamed of since we knew we were coming to Michigan. And to have this opportunity to go chase it, it means the world. And we're not going to waste that opportunity. We're going to get everything we got. It's going to be a heck of a football fight.
Spencer's got a little more experience right now than Alex, and he's got a little probably stronger arm, liver arm than Alex. But conversely, Alex is a little niftier and a better athlete. So, and one thing I've learned throughout my career in coaching, but especially coaching here 30-plus years, there's all kinds of ways to be a good player, and that's true of every position. Quarterback's job is number one to lead the football team and, have them, help them have success. And both these guys have done a great job that way.
Including you.
Yeah, we did. Well,
What's it like being back here? We have fans back, the championship back here. What's it like being here?
Fantastic. I mean, it's excited for everybody to be here. And, it's being a championship game. We didn't think we were going to be in it last week. And Wisconsin kind of tripped up, and we slid right in. And we love playing Michigan. It's always a school we've always held up to a top notch. Okay. So we get excited about playing in this ball game.
You left your mark as a return man, and we understand the speed, we understand the agility. What is something that you need to be a great returner that somebody may not know right off the bat?
We got to be fearless out there. I mean, you can't be afraid because you've got, second and third team linebackers don't get to play very much running down full speed. Yeah. So you got to kind of maneuver your space, and you got to take chances. You got to believe in yourself. You got to catch the football first and go hit north-south and get outside and hopefully use your speed and, anybody but the kickers left. But, aggressive and fearless.
Well, speaking of that speed, Charlie Jones for Iowa.
Charlie Jones!
He's the Rogers Dwight return specialist of the year. So what are your impressions of him? What do you like about his game as you watch him?
Look at him. He's shifty. He's nifty. He's not afraid to hit up the middle. And he's got speed. Like, he almost gets around the corner here, almost makes it. And he had a 100-yarder right here against Illinois. This is pretty sweet. So, yeah, he feels the seam, and he knows where to go, and he gets outside, and he turns on the speed. So I like him. We want to get him the ball a little bit more on offense, too, hopefully tonight.
That I definitely agree with. Special teams can become the forgotten phase of the game, right? But what kind of pride do you take? I mean, the last 2 Iowa games were turned around because of special teams. So as a special teamer yourself, what kind of pride do you take in the forgotten unit, as they call it?
A lot of pride. I mean, every day we got to go out and practice our schemes and everything. And we always understand it's the biggest play during a play in football. I mean, a 40-yard punt, a 65-yard kickoff return. So it's one of the biggest plays. And, the game has changed a little bit when I played. We used to have 4 big offensive linemen with a wedge, and now you really can't do that. So the game on the kickoff side is a little different. But it's a big time in the game. And if you can make big plays like we've had the last couple of weeks, change the ball game. I mean, you look at Nebraska, for instance. I mean, we had momentum kind of throughout the game, but we just couldn't get over the hump. We blocked that punt, touchdown, and, we won that game.
It's great.
So you're a game changer.
I know that you love seeing the fans. You also love seeing fellow Hawkeyes. There was a tweet that was sent out. You ran into someone in the hotel. Take a look. Who'd you run into? Andre Tippett, right?
One of the best all-time Hawkeyes ever. He's one of the groups that turned around Iowa football. I mean, we used to be pretty bad in the 70s, and Hayden came in 79, and he was a big part of the first Rose Bowl team, and he really set the tone. Because I grew up in Iowa City right there, and I watched all these teams when I was a little kid, and I always wanted to be a Hawkeye, and I got the opportunity to do that. And, yeah, he was something special. And he's going to the Football Hall of Fame next week, which I'm actually going to as a guest, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Born and raised in Iowa City, you always want to be a Hawkeye, you become one, and then you leave your mark on the program. And now you look at Charlie Jones winning an award with your namesake attached to it. When you look back at this whole thing, what kind of emotions come over you?
It's crazy because you just never think. I mean, I'm not a big kid. You dream big, but you don't know if you can be big. And you do that, and you look back in your career, and you're like, wow, I did a lot of stuff. And it's great to be that mark, though, because, you know, I always was going after a guy named Brent Roth. He was a 400-meter hurdle runner.
Yeah.
He played running back at our high school. I always wanted to be like them, and I broke his records, and I kept going. So I think it's important for us folks that set our mark and keep these young kids really bringing it hard, because in every record I have at Iowa, I think my receiving records are all been broken now, which is great to see that. And now my punt return records are fairly close to being broken.
But
so,
you
yeah,
set the bar high.
Yeah, you try to set that bar.
Right?
Yes,
That's
you
what it's
did.
all about.
Yep.
You set the bar high for energy. You brought great energy to this crowd. So, Tim.
You got to bring it.
I
you
love
it.
it.
One time in life, and you're never going to play in front of 70,000 people.
There you go.
And it's Ohio State, Michigan, Happy Valley. I mean, amazing opportunities you get, and you got to show up.
Well, we appreciate you showing up here today.
Ferentz, the dean of not only the Big Ten coaches, but all of FBS.
And it's kind of ironic. I grew up in Pittsburgh. The Steelers have had 3 head coaches since 1969. Now I work at a place where we've had 2 head coaches in 43 years. I feel very, very fortunate to be in a place that allows you to have some stability.
Iowa's winningest coach, humble man. After breaking Coach Fry's record, he said, I'll maybe have a little extra ice cream tonight.
I think my favorite part about playing for Coach Ferentz is that he really cares about us. That's what you want in a coach. You want a guy that's going to care for you, but also a guy that's knowing it's time to get serious.
This man does what he does because he loves Iowa football and he loves the players in this building. When you have a coach like that, it makes it fun. It really makes you want to play well for him.
Class outfit Kirk Ferentz runs.
Yeah, he really is.
Top to bottom, always has.
Coach Ferentz has done some phenomenal things and accomplished amazing things here.
To get you set, we have to talk to one of the all-time greats, Steve Hutchinson, Hall of Famer, getting inducted next week, 2-time All-American at Michigan. What a career he has. I need to get it out there now. No relation to Aiden Hutchinson or his dad, Chris Hutchinson. So we're just going to throw that out there now. Although all great football players. Steve, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
What is it like being out here in Michigan in the Big Ten title game?
I've waited a long time for Maize and Blue to be in this game, so I figured this is the game I'm going to show up for.
Good choice.
Yeah, right.
Good choice.
Now, you grew up in Florida, and there's a lot of good football in Florida. So what was it about Michigan that stuck you there? Because, again, this guy named Lloyd Carr takes over the program. That's not the guy that brought you there, but you stayed. Why?
Yeah, my dad was born in the UP. My mom's from Chicago, so I have the Midwest in my genes, and I've always followed Michigan from a young age. Michigan always on national TV, always see the winged helmet, the Maize and Blue on TV, even in South Florida. And there was something that drew me to that campus, that school, and I had an opportunity to go up there for a camp in high school. And like you said, Coach Moeller offered me a scholarship, and then Lloyd took over, and the rest is history.
I mentioned that no relationship to Aiden, but we were just talking about it. You actually have a funny story because you actually got this connection long ago with his dad, Chris.
Yeah, right. So when I get to school, in '96, Aiden's dad had played there before me. And everybody asked me, are you Chris's brother? Are you Chris's brother? And I was like, I spent 4 years saying no relation. And now I get asked all the time if Aiden's my son or my cousin relation. Or something. So it comes full circle.
It sure does,
yeah.
What was it about Lloyd Carr that he consistently got the best out of all of his players?
Yeah, Lloyd, I think the thing, if you ask anybody that played for Lloyd, will tell you he was like that father figure everybody had away from home when you're on campus. And you didn't want to disappoint your dad, and he had a way of letting you know, it didn't matter who you were, that you needed to do more, you needed to stay on track, and I think that's what it was. He taught us to play for each other, and which you see a lot of similarities from this team this year in Ann Arbor. They play for each other, the excitement, and they're genuinely happy when another teammate makes a play, and there's a lot of excitement and anticipation for this game from all us alum, because we like to see that. It kind of reminds us of, not to kind of jinx it, but the '97 feel of that togetherness. We're excited to watch this game tonight.
So actually going off of that, a championship team, what would you say is that X factor that you look for when you watch now championship teams? Is it that chemistry?
Well, there's always adversity during the season. There's ups and downs in games, and you just had Tim Dwight on here before, and I thought of him, and I'm thinking he's almost single-handedly beat us in '97. That was probably our biggest test that year, was coming back from a big deficit at halftime against Iowa in Ann Arbor, and the mettle it took, the togetherness to come back and battle and correct mistakes and come back at the end of the game and win. That's what it takes. And we dropped one a couple weeks ago against Michigan State, but you see the resolve this team showed coming back and playing the big ones, right? Coming back, beating Penn State, beating Ohio State, obviously, last week, so which was a long time coming for us. So there's similarities that way that you see in this team that we kind of reminded us of the 97 team.
And going back to that Ohio State game, Hassan Haskins, record-breaking, 5 touchdowns on the ground. But the O-line is the unsung hero. That is the motor that makes the engine go there.
Right.
So what can you say about this offensive line's performance last week?
Well, that's the name of the game. You know, when every time we play at Ohio State, you always say you throw out the records. It doesn't matter what the records are. You know it's going to be a hard-fought game for 60 minutes. And, you know, I actually sent a message to Coach Moore, the offensive line coach in Michigan before the game. I said, get those guys to play for each other, play for the seniors, and get ready to just do what they do. And they stepped up to the challenge, and they knew that if they control the line of scrimmage at the end of the day, good things are going to happen. And that's exactly what they did, and, you know, ran for almost 300 yards. So you can't ask more out of an offensive line and a running game than that.
Last week's win was pretty sweet. Were you in the whole thing? Were you in the...
No, I wasn't at the game. The one Ohio State game I went to, since I played in it, we lost, obviously.
So you were like, I'm not going
I'm not jinxing it. I'm going to watch from home.
So you watched from home, the comfort of your home, but a pretty cool scene nonetheless.
Right.
Steve, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Hall of
Yes,
Famer,
next
Steve.
week.
Thanks for joining us today. How do you feel?
You know, I feel great. You know, waking up a Wolverine this morning, it felt great. Felt a little better than usual. It's an amazing feeling.
So what's it like when you guys know that you're controlling the line of scrimmage? As the quarterback, you know that every time you call this run play, your backs and your offensive line, the tight ends and the wide receivers, how much confidence does that give you?
Oh, it gives me so much confidence, especially when it's the case of we're calling a play action to set it up, or when I notice the tendencies of what Coach Gaddis is calling on the call sheet, then I can start anticipating, you know, what the next pass is going to be.
I want to ask you about Coach Gaddis. You mentioned you kind of get a rhythm and a feel for where he's going play call-wise. How does that help you when you're on the field?
Yeah, it helps me a lot, and especially when we're getting closer to third down situations, then I'm able to anticipate what he's calling, and that's something that, you know, we have a meeting every week, just me and him, and regarding what to expect on third down, what he's going to call, and you know, we've started doing those meetings, and it's done nothing but help me because I'm able to just play freely and then know when it's third down, like, look, I know it's going to be one of these few calls, and then all I have to worry about is really just getting lined up and just seeing if the defense is giving me the right look.
There's a calmness about you that I feel when I'm sitting here talking with you. Where did that come from?
You know, I think I'm pretty confident in myself and I'm confident in this team that what we've established here is, you know, something that I believe in and that the rest of us believe in.
A lot of people get excited. Your backup, JJ, has an opportunity to hop into the game. The cameras go right to you when he runs, but there's still a confidence because you know this is your team. How have you helped him develop as a young quarterback?
I've been trying to share some of my preparation with not just JJ, but like a lot of the dudes in that room. And I think, you know, as the season's gone on, I've been able to be like honest with JJ. You know, I'm confident in my preparation. So if I see something on one of his plays that I think can cause an issue, I want to make sure that he knows that.
When you look at that defense, I mean, this defense is, you know, night and day from where it was in previous years. What excites you about watching those guys play?
My favorite thing is watching third and long because that's when David Ojabo and Aiden Hutchinson know it's a pass and they're just going to get after the quarterback because I know when we do third down in practice that, you know, they know that I'm throwing the ball and it's going to be tough to stop those dudes. And, I mean, our defense is elite and they put us in great scenarios. And the more that we play complementary football, that's just led to more success this season for us.
When I say Iowa defense, what comes to mind?
They're physical. Anyone who's aware of who Iowa is, that they have big linebackers and, you know, they want to stop the run. So I know we'll be looking forward to the challenge.
Michigan became a bit more reliant on the pass game as the conference season went along, and McNamara more than held up his end of the bargain. 9 TD passes in the last 5 Big Ten games as compared to just 1 in the first 4. You see a significant uptick in the big plays as well. Howard, what did you take from your time with Cade?
Really, the confidence level that he has. He's been in this situation before when everyone loves that backup quarterback and they want him to get out there. And JJ is going to be a heck of a football player for Michigan when his time comes. But he had to deal with that when he was in high school. When he was a true freshman, there was a junior quarterback that was coming back that was really good, really popular. And as a true freshman, he's competing and won the job. And he was really not well liked and like received at his school. So that was a lot that he had to deal with. And I think going through that experience for him really set him up for the experience that he has now in Michigan. And that's why he has the confidence to go and help coach up the younger players, even though they may have a huge upside.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's unfair to Cade is, we're in a time of college football where most offenses are quarterback-centric. Most people are running the spread. And so if you're going to compare Cade to those type of offense, that's unfair. What Cade is doing is what Jim Harbaugh and Josh Gaddis wants him to do. And for that role, he's been a perfect fit. He's not a game manager, and it's easy to say that because he's not in a spread attack. But Joshua, I mean, they've lost one game. They're playing for a national championship, and he's the quarterback. I mean, I don't know how else you can compliment him. This is the position he has helped the team get in.
I agree. It is crazy, this narrative that he couldn't throw the ball, and they didn't throw the ball early on in the year. They decided they wanted to run it and let the offense develop, which was totally fine. But you flip on the tape and watch what he can do. It's been really impressive. And we've seen some of those catches from those wide receivers out on the edges, but he puts the ball out there for them to go up and get it. And then underneath, their passing game is really reliant on some of these underneath routes. He understands the windows and he delivers the ball on time and accurately. And I think that's everything you can ask for a quarterback. So he's been really good. It's been a very interesting story to watch because even leaving training camp early on in the year, we saw McCarthy running around out there. We could see he was explosive. Cade McNamara was grinding, though, and that's why he's been so successful this year.
1997, the year of the last national championship, fueled in large part by the play of Charles Woodson, who remains the only primarily defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. Of course, went on to a fabulous NFL career, a 9-time Pro Bowler. And Charles Woodson joining us now. Charles, thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
What has it meant to you to see Michigan rebound this year and to have the win over Ohio State, which I know you got to witness in person last week, despite being freezing?
Yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun to watch this team over the course of the year just continue to grow game in and game out. We know we hit that hurdle against Michigan State, right? But then they jumped right back on track and just got some big wins going down to the stretch to play against Ohio State. So I just been having a lot of fun, man, just enjoying these wins. And no win like last week. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that win last week, and it was very emotional. Obviously, the fans storming the field. You could see the emotion from the players, and now you have to prepare for a Big Ten championship game. How difficult is it for a team to rebound from a game like that emotionally?
It can be difficult, but I think this team is poised. I think this team has the correct leaders that you need on the team, man. When I look at Aiden Hutchinson and Josh Ross, I continue to say those two guys' names, every single day it seems like, because I think the team feeds off of those guys. And these veterans, these seniors, they will not let the rest of the team fall in the tank worried about what happened last week. They're focused on trying to win a Big Ten championship. I think they'll handle it the way that they're supposed to, come out here and take care of business tonight and win the Big Ten championship.
Before this year, we heard from the fans what they thought was wrong with Michigan football, why it wasn't winning championships. What were the ex-players thinking about until this year as Michigan struggled since you left?
For me, it was all defense. I play on the defensive side of the ball, of course, so that's one thing that I really, really, truly pay attention to. And when you look at what this team has done this year under Mike McDonald, I think that's the biggest difference to me. If you watch the way you watched Michigan play Ohio State the last couple of years, you guys have speed out on the outside, and you guys hit crossers, all day long, right? And what do? We go out there and we just play man-to-man every single play. And those crossers and those athletic wide receivers continue to beat us across the field and score, a lot of points on us. So bring Mike McDonald in, someone who will look at what happened last week and then adjust the next week of what this defense needs to do. I think that's made all the difference in the world.
You obviously played on some fabulous teams at Michigan. What similarities do you see between the teams that you played on and this current team?
Well, I think it's the way that they're built. I mean, when I watched the game last week, I know Bo is somewhere looking down saying, that's Michigan football. Run the ball, run the ball. when you have a chance to take your shot downfield, Cornelius Johnson, throw it to him, get downfield, but go back to running the football, right? And then defense, flying around on defense. They threw for a lot of yards, but you know what we did? We made Ohio State go the long way. They beat us in time of possession. But we didn't give them the big plays, the quick strikes, and I think that was the game changer for us. And then when we had a chance to go down and score, we scored points. So even though they had the ball longer, we went down and scored points where we needed to, and we made them go the long way.
We've talked a lot about the emotions of Michigan after having such an emotional win against Ohio State, but they haven't won a championship.
Right.
And you have won championships, and you have rings. If you could address that team before the game, what would you say about what getting a ring means? You've already beaten Ohio State, but you still don't have a ring.
Yeah, you still don't. Guys, I would be looking each guy in their eye and say, man, you know what? We just crossed one of the biggest hurdles that we hadn't crossed in some time. But the job is not done. We have more football to play, and I need each and every one of you to focus in right now and focus on the task at hand. Man, we have everything in front of us. All we got to do out there is go out there and play Michigan football. And if we play Michigan football, we'll attain everything we want.
That'd be pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. You might want to go in there at the 11th hour.
I think they recorded it, didn't they? Show it to the team.
As long as we're talking about what you would tell people, I'm interested in what you would tell Aiden Hutchinson today. You won the Heisman Trophy by playing really well in really big games where you knew the entire country was watching. He has a chance to do that here tonight. What would you say to him about playing in a huge game, knowing there's a lot riding on it for your team, but also for you personally?
I would tell him, man, it's not about you. We know what position he's in, what he's put the position he's put himself in, and he will have a chance to win the Heisman Trophy if he performs. But it's not about him. It is about the team. Just go out there and play team football. Don't try to do too much. Go out there and do what you know how to do, and that's be one of the greatest rushers that we've seen in college football. So I'm excited to see what he does out there today. I know he'll play strong, but just make it about the team.
That should be a fabulous game here tonight. Charles Woodson, really appreciate you coming by. Thanks so much for doing this.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah.
Nice to have Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren here. Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here.
So you've had a whirlwind of a week because now you're getting your first true experience for the Big Ten championship game. And can I just ask about last week? You were at Michigan, Ohio State. You got lost in the sea of people after the game. What was that experience like?
It was special. I mean, one good thing about it, one thing about Big Ten football, it's all about the fans, and the fans were outstanding last week. The weather was great. It was really a magical day to see the snow start to fall right before kickoff. It was a great football game, so I'm happy to be here today and take in another great game.
Absolutely.
Michigan and Iowa find themselves on top of the mountain, but there were 4 Big Ten teams this year that cracked the 10-win mark. What can you say about Big Ten football?
I mean, 4 that cracked the 10-win mark, 3 that cracked the 8-win mark. So to think that half of our league won 8 games or more, I think that just shows the strength of the Big Ten. I mean, we have the best football conference. Our coaches are the best in the country, our student athletes. We had a great season from a football standpoint. And I'd say from a fall sports standpoint, Northwestern won the Phil Hockey Championship, National Championship. So it really is going to be an exciting day, and these 2 great brands and 2 great schools and 2 great teams, to really see them compete tonight is going to be special.
Talking about tonight, and we talked about last week's experience, but specifically, what are you looking forward to today, or what have you already experienced as you really take it all in, especially having fans back?
Yeah, I mean, it's really about the fans. I mean, for you think about last year, what everyone went through, but to be able to have the fans participate in this is really, really special. I mean, Lucas Oil Stadium is going to be exciting. This will be the largest crowd ever in the history of Lucas Oil Stadium, so I'm excited for kickoff.
Now, I'm definitely not going to ask you who you expect to win. We're not going to put you in that spot. But I am going to ask, what are you hoping to see this evening?
I'm hoping to see a great football game. I mean, you can feel the energy. We just watched the Oklahoma State-Baylor game, and to feel all this energy coming today is special. And to know that the world will be watching, like I said, 2 great teams. I mean, Iowa's had a phenomenal season. Michigan had a phenomenal season. So to see those 2 teams come together, like I said, led by great coaches and great players and the fans, is really going to be special.
Now, tonight's all about the fans, the players, the teams. I know you're all about not just the athlete, but the person and these student athletes themselves. And then the alliance with the Pac-12 and the ACC, mental health initiatives and what you're doing with that. And something was launched this week. Can you explain more about that and how you're aiming to help student athletes?
Yeah, that was the whole purpose of forming the alliance with the ACC and the Pac-12, not only from a scheduling component, but also just to make a difference in the lives of student athletes. So from a social justice standpoint, but from a mental health standpoint. And then when we launch Teammates for Mental Health this week, it really is making a difference in the lives of our student athletes. So long as we keep putting our student athletes at the center of our decision-making process, we're going to be fine. So I'm excited to see the impact that has.
And lastly, Commissioner, as millions upon millions of people tune in for kickoff tonight, what is the world going to see about Big Ten football?
That is good. I mean, it really is good. Yeah. It's going to be exciting, and I'm excited to see the game tonight. These are two really good football teams. I've been able to see them both play in person, and so it's going to be exciting day. It's just been a culmination of an unbelievable season, but to see it all come together. Special. And I owe so much credit to our staff at the Big Ten. They've worked hard to make sure this comes together in a partnership with you all and the fans, having them here. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Joining us now is Andre Tippett. And Andre, linebacker for the Hawkeyes, Hall of Famer for the Hawkeyes, two-time All-Big Ten pick, a captain in 1981. You can see there even the College Football Hall of Fame inductee, class of 2021. Congratulations. So many awards, accolades, and now we get to talk to you. Andre, good to see you here at FanFest.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm happy to be here. Let's go Hawks! Yeah. Let's go Hawks!
What's it
awesome.
like to see your Hawkeyes in the championship game? Surprise!
I have my family here, and they've never really experienced. I said, you've never experienced a college football game until you watch the Hawkeyes and the support from the Hawk fans. And they're excited because they've been walking around today, and they saw the black and gold out there, and I said, that's what we do.
That's right.
That's what we do. So.
Now, you had a Hall of Fame career on the defensive side of the ball. But we were talking early in your college career, you almost got flipped to the offensive side. What happened there?
I got there. I had to report with the freshmen. I was a sophomore. I transferred in, and we're taking a lap. First week of practice, I lapped the freshman class. Hayden Fry was pointing, and he was looking. He says, "There go my fullback right over there." So for a week, I'm in with a playbook, offensive playbook, and I'm like, I got to figure out a way to get out of here. And luckily, Hayden wised up and said, "I think you're better used on the defense." So it was one of those moments in time.
It's a good thing you stayed, because by your senior year, we were talking about this, I was first winning season, first Big Ten title, first Rose Bowl in 2 decades. You helped lead the way in 81. What was that like?
It was amazing because I was there from the very beginning. I was there as Hayden Fry got a uniform from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he said, "We're going to change our uniforms and our look. We're going to build this program up. Everybody's going to get on a good weight program." And then sophomore, junior, senior year, all of a sudden, it just started happening. We were getting slapped around by a few teams early on, sophomore, junior year, and then it just all came together. And for us to have representation into the Rose Bowl and co-Big Ten champs that year, it was amazing, amazing feeling.
You're still very involved in the game of football. You work with the New England Patriots, and you were just in Iowa City to watch the Minnesota game. When you look at this Iowa defense, just as a fan of football, what do you see?
I see a little bit of our 81 team.
Okay.
It's guys are just making plays. I got a chance to talk to the guys a few weeks ago, and I said to them, winning and success in anything that we do in life is about winning those individual battles. I said, you all are going to have to take turns to find out who is ready to win that individual battle each snap. And for me, that's what it's all about. That's what football is all about, to have that success, to be successful, to be as a group. Although 11 defense, offense, special teams, you still got to have that individual success. Guys have got to be doing things. And that's what this defense looks like. Everybody's taking the turns to show up. And I'm hoping, it continues tonight.
Absolutely. And you were telling your teammates that a couple weeks ago, you were saying it was a reunion. You got to see those 81 guys. You said it felt so good. It had been a long time.
Oh, it was awesome. We had about 50 guys back from the 1981 team. And it was guys I had not seen probably after the Pasadena game, after the Rose Bowl. I went from the Hula Bowl, and then to the Japan Bowl. And I probably didn't get back to Iowa City until January late. And by that time, I'm starting to work out, getting ready for the draft, the combines. I started flying to different places for the pro teams to work us out. And so I didn't see anybody. It was a blur. Going into 82, the new year, it was a blur because before you know it, here comes April, I'm drafted, then I got to go to Iowa City, got to go to Boston for mini camp, I'm back, school's over with, I'm packed in the car, I'm driving to Boston. And that was it. So to see these guys a couple of weeks ago, it was amazing. And I was just happy just to see the guys and get a big hug from everybody.
And speaking of seeing people, Tim Dwight, we had him on earlier. You saw him.
Saw
You're like,
Tim
hey,
Dwight
I know that guy.
we were in the lobby. I was with my daughters and my wife, and I'm looking at this guy, and I said, this kid looks familiar. And I tell my daughter, I said, I think that's Tim Dwight. So he gets up. I said, Tim Dwight. He said, yeah. I said, Andre Tippett. Oh, man. And we hug each other like, you know. And that's the nice thing about football, sports. You see each other. You don't necessarily have to play, but the fact that we walked over each other's shoulders before, and we've gotten to that promised land. It is just love for each other when we see each other.
Yeah, and in the end, that's what sports exactly are all about. And that is how we wrap up with Andre Tippett. A good message, Andre. Thank you so much for the time.